Yo, this is SoulDrum86 bringing you another video, and I decided to do something kind of fun, a little unique to the channel, slightly. I talked about how I'm pretty much done with watching modern wrestling, man. At least until, and hopefully, maybe it might not happen until it starts to get better. And I'll have to hear that from other people, and all that good stuff. But I was on Netflix, and I forgot about how Netflix does have a lot of content now of the WWE on the platform. So I randomly chose an episode, not too random. There is a reason why I chose this specific episode to review, but it is 1994 Monday Night Raw episode 12, and it is the premiere of the Heartbreak Hotel. So yeah, anybody who knows me knows that Shawn Michaels is my dude, man. So let's get right to this, man. First, I would love to point out that this is back when Monday Night Raw was an hour. In an hour, we got 4 matches. In 3 hours on the Netflix premiere of Monday Night Raw, we got 4 matches. Just let that sink in. An hour show giving you 3 matches. And might I add, the 3 matches were good. And I'm going to get into that. I am going to get into that during this review. Now, this won't be a review where I talk about, every little spot in the match that was done. No. This is just going to be something quick. Hopefully this video isn't too long, but let's start this off before the credits of the show even run, right? The opening to the show is Adam Bomb and Earthquake getting into an argument backstage because Adam Bomb and Earthquake fought each other at WrestleMania 10. Earthquake wins. Adam Bomb is like, listen, that was a fluke. Ain't going to be able to do it again. They got to be separated, blah, 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 blah. Opening of the show comes on. Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon are the commentators for the evening. They're, getting everybody pumped up and, introducing the show, all that good stuff. And the first match is Adam Bomb versus Earthquake. Earthquake makes his entrance first. And what was cool, and I forgot about this little detail before, when Earthquake had his entrance, you know how they would show the camera like from a lower angle, kind of looking up at Earthquake, and the camera would shake as if every step that he was making was like shaking the earth. I love that little detail, and I forgot about that. But yeah, so Earthquake makes his entrance first, and then Adam Bomb makes his entrance. And as soon as Adam Bomb gets into the ring, didn't even let the bell ring first, literally takes his goggles off, turns around, and just starts to attack Earthquake. You can tell that there's some heat there. So he's attacking him, tries to Irish whip him. Another little detail, ring psychology, because Earthquake is so big, can't just Irish whip this dude, especially that quick into the match. So tries to Irish whip him, and of course, Earthquake reverses the Irish whip, and he starts to get the upper hand of the match. The match is good. It's a nice paced match. It's not boring. And then, Earthquake ends up winning again with his signature move. And yeah, so that's the end of the first match. Now, right after that match, they show highlights from WrestleMania 10, specifically when Yokozuna and Lex Luger were fighting for the championship. Mr. Perfect was the special guest referee, and immediately when they showed that clip, I remember how Mr. Perfect had on like the red and or the black and white striped shirt and the pants to go with it. But it was the moment in the match at the end where Lex Luger brings in Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji, knocks them both out, goes for the pin because Yokozuna is knocked out at this point, and there's so much time for Mr. Perfect to count the 1, 2, 3, but he's not, and so he's trying to wake up Jim Cornette, and then he's trying to wake up Mr. Fuji, and Lex Luger gives him a shove, and goes for the pin again, and Mr. Perfect goes to, and disqualifies him and then just leaves the ring. And it was perfect. And what it made me think of, and again, I'm sorry that I keep doing these comparisons to current day wrestling and old school wrestling, but I have to because I went to SummerSlam live. So at SummerSlam, you had a situation where the special guest referee to the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre match was Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and CM Punk hate each other, correct? CM Punk was able to he hit. I want to say he hit his finisher on him at SummerSlam, and and he still counted the 1, 2, 3 for CM Punk. And I thought at that moment they were gonna kind of call an audible, make Seth Rollins disqualify CM Punk. Never happened. With the heat that those two had against each other, to me, that would have been the logical step to do. It just made me think of that moment at SummerSlam. Not much else that you could really compare the situations to, but it was just cool how Mr. Perfect did that. That was like what a heel character would do, and it was awesome. Let's see. And then right after that highlight, they show Mr. Perfect in this all black, like, it's just a black background and it's just him and he's calling out Mr. Perfect. So it's like, awesome. You show what happened to him, how he screwed him at WrestleMania 10, and then right after you show that highlight, instantly get a promo with Lex Luger calling Mr. Perfect out. Right after that, Gorilla Monsoon is in the ring, calls out Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect and Gorilla Monsoon is interviewing Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect telling the audience, listen, I don't have a problem with Lex Luger. I don't have a problem with Yokozuna. He said, but I let a lot of things slide in that match. He kept talking. I loved the promo, the way Mr. Perfect was talking. He kept saying how many things that he let slide. And he said it wasn't until he gave me the shove. And if you look in the rules of what you're not supposed to do to a referee and all of this other stuff like that. So it was cool. So you get that interview segment with Gorilla Monsoon and Mr. Perfect. Again, it's still everything so far all entertaining. The second match of the night, Razor Ramon versus some jobber Austin Steele. Good match because you got to see Razor Ramon beat up on somebody. That's what these jobber matches were good for, just to get to see one of your favorite wrestlers or whoever just beat up on some dude, and that match was awesome. So what I want to call out is right now 2 matches very different from each other. There's variety. Nothing that was done in this Razor Ramon match was done in that first Earthquake and Atom Bomb match. Different feel, different aggression. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because that had story to it from WrestleMania, while this match with Razor Ramon was just for him to get some reps in and just beat up on somebody. But it was still entertaining, especially if you were a Razor Ramon fan. And then there's a promo. Actually, it's they showed last week. There was a promo with the Quebecers, the Mountie and them, and on defending their titles. And Captain Lou Albano comes out. He's trying to get them to fight the Head Shrinkers and put their titles on the line. And they refuse to do it. But there is it was like that hotline thing. It was when they went back to TV and they were showing, like, is it going to be the Bushwhackers that they defend the titles against? Is it going to be Men on a Mission that they put the title up against? Or is it going to be the Smoking Guns? But Captain Lou is still, at this time, he's still trying to get them to defend against the Head Shrinkers. So you see a backstage promo with the Quebecers as well. They're talking trash and all that good stuff. Then the third match, we go into the third match, which is a 10-man tag team match. It's Jeff Jarrett, IRS, Rick Martel, and the Head Shrinkers versus the Smoking Guns, Bob Holly, 1, 2, 3 Kid, and Tatanka. Very fast-paced match. Nobody's trying to do anything crazy to try to kill each other. It is very entertaining. I mean, when I say this match was fast paced, it was fast paced, and it makes sense when you have that many wrestlers involved in a match. It actually was very entertaining. It was the match of the night for me. The 10-man tag was the match of the night. The heels ended up going over. IRS ended up pinning 1, 2, 3 Kid. It was like a fancy roll up. It wasn't like your typical roll up. 1, 2, 3 Kid was going for a move, and IRS was able to kind of like reverse out of it, and they fell into a pin. And once he pinned him, he rolled out of the ring. So that match, like I said, that match was really, really, really entertaining, man. I think the only person that I didn't like in that match was Bob Holly. I think as a kid, I never really liked Bob Holly. I liked him as Hardcore Holly. I did like that gimmick, but yeah, Bob Holly, I don't think I was really like too much of a fan of, man. Um, so yeah, man, very cool match, very fast paced. Again, you have some variations because you got a tag team match, and a 10-man tag team match at that. And so after that match, we then go into the premiere of the Heartbreak Hotel. Shawn Michaels and Diesel, they call out Razor Ramon. Shawn Michaels is like, listen, if you think we're done with you, that is not the case because we are not done with you, my friend. And so then he kind of sets up, putting your title on the line against Diesel. Diesel wants to fight you now. And so that's where that promo ended. Um, HBK being HBK. It was awesome, entertaining as always with him, man. And after that, after the Heartbreak Hotel segment, then we have the main event, which is Yokozuna versus Scott Powers. And what was cool about this match, they talked about how Yokozuna, when he was trying to do the bonsai drop, but the ropes were like loose and he was shaking on him and he fell. And I think that's how the loss happened, against, Bret Hart. And so when Yokozuna goes to do the bonsai drop on Scott Powers, what does he do? He checks the ropes. It's those little details that I love that they did back then. I absolutely love those little details. So he goes in and checks the ropes, does the bonsai drop. Of course, he's the winner of the match. And that's pretty much that's the end of the night. All the matches are done, but at the very, very, very end of the show, Vince McMahon is standing there with Gorilla Monsoon, and they're talking about next week on how the Quebecers are going to be putting their titles on the line against the mystery opponent. Like I said earlier, it's either going to be Men on a Mission, Head Shrinkers, or Men on a Mission, Smoking Guns, or oh my gosh. Oh, the Bushwhackers. Yeah. So yeah, and then Monday Night Raw ends, but it ended on a note of like getting people ready for what's going to happen next week because hey, they've been talking. It was a couple segments where they were showing how them putting their titles on the line and showing these promos, and that was like throughout the night. It was at least 3 times throughout the night that they showed this, and so then to kind of build it up where all right, next week is the week where they're going to fight one of these 3 tag teams. Meanwhile, Captain Lou Albano is trying to get them to fight the Head Shrinkers, and it just leaves you wanting to see what's going to happen in the following week. Very, very cool, very episodic as always. It was really, really fun watching this, man. And I do this from time to time, and I should have done this on this channel a long time ago because back in the summer I was watching all of the Saturday night's main events, and I should have reviewed those. Honestly, I might go back and do that, depending on how many I can find. I don't know if Peacock still has some. I think Peacock might still have some stuff up because they had all of the Saturday night's main event on there. So I might end up doing that, man. You guys let me know if you like this, these reviews. I'm just kind of randomly picking stuff, because it's like, slim pickings in a way. It's not like, it's not like the WWE network where it was like everything is on there. Everything is kind of skipped around, so I could only like do so much. But yeah, man, this was a great episode of Raw. It was an hour of TV, and I was entertained thoroughly throughout. And it's these little details, man, that happen throughout the night that I really love. The start of the show, and the start of the show playing into the first match of the show that had story from WrestleMania 10, and just all of that stuff, man. I just thought this episode was really, really good. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Am I gonna give it a score? No, I'm just gonna say I really enjoyed the episode of Monday Night Raw. I'm not gonna really give it a score. That right there is a little bit too difficult to do. So I'll just say that I really did like this episode. I never felt bored. The things that I complain about were not visible here because back in the day, They paid attention to detail. They actually sold. They actually told a story. so so yeah, man. But yeah, that's about it, man. Let me know how you guys like this video. Like I said, I actually like doing this. This is pretty cool. So yeah, look for more videos to be like this, man. Just to add them into the mix. I think next I got some more action figure videos coming up. As a matter of fact, I do. So be on the lookout for those as well. But this is your boy Soul Drum 86, and I'm out. Peace.